Mike Papantonio on the line with us, the attorney and host of Ring of Fire Radio, ringofireradio.com. Pap, thanks so much for filling in for me yesterday.
Well, Tom, you have a great audience. Let me just tell you, it's well-informed audience that you have.
I agree. There's some really, really fine people listening and watching, and I excuse me, I do appreciate your help. So we've got this clip of Governor Christie this morning asserting what he's not. Here he is.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
Oh, sorry, sorry, wrong clip. Here's the right clip.
Politics ain't beanbag. I am who I am, but I am not a bully.
No, there we go. There we go. Yeah, right. So I'm guessing you've seen this. Did you see the guy Wildstein taking the fifth?
Sure. Yeah, this is Al Capone politics, Tom. I mean, this is not comical, petty politics mixed with bullying and intimidation, the kind that we're used to seeing from this character, Chris Christie. What we have here is, at the very least, is you have obstruction with a criminal investigation. You've got a whole assortment of minor felonies and probably some major felonies related to it. And then add to that the civil case that, you know, a woman died because of this governor's conduct, and it is his conduct. It is impossible to believe that understand Wildstein is his childhood friend, Tom. Right. This is somebody that he's known his entire life. And life doesn't take place in a vacuum. He doesn't walk into the office where he works with Wildstein every day and talks with him every day, has beers with him, and interacts with him, and this doesn't come up. So what he's doing is he's just digging himself into a bigger pit, and it's going to be a big pit by the time this is over with.
Do you think it's possible that there's some variation on, the old Shakespeare, will not someone rid me of this troublesome monk? And, and so Wildstein and what's her name, Miss Kelly decided to go off and do it?
Well, it's possible, but I think what you have is it all flows from the top. Tom, any
culture certainly does.
Yeah, organization always flows from the top, and you generally surround yourself with people that are a reflection of who you are. Mm. And this is a situation where we're just seeing the edge of it. I mean, look, think about this. Wildstein hands over all of these emails and these memos where we have the names redacted. We have a very important name redacted. Now, that memo is damning as it can be. I mean, we're talking about jeopardizing the human life, and they think that's funny, and they say, well, it's okay if school children can't make it to school because they're probably Democrat children anyway. Right. But here's where the edge of it is. That redacted redacted memo, the persons whose name was redacted, and this is just a prediction. This is based on dealing with redacted memos and reading thousands and thousands of memos where I have to go to trial all the time. Typically what you see is it's where it's redacted because that person is a weak link in the chain. It's not so much that it goes up to a higher level. It's typically we don't want anybody talking to that person because I've already talked to them. They're freaked out by all of this. And so that's typically the first time you start seeing names like that redacted. And the other side of it is it's either that or it's somebody very, very high in the food chain.
By a weak link in the chain, you mean somebody who might squeal?
Oh, yes. Somebody who's probably already talking. If you look at this particular memo, that what they were saying is they felt bad about what was happening here. I mean, that tells you a little bit right there.
Right. What about the school kids?
Yeah. What about the school kids? And then this flippant response by Wildstein. Well, gee, they're probably Democrats anyway. Well, that tells me a lot, and I guess it's just a kind of a second sense that you get when you read enough of this stuff. But typically, when I see that kind of scenario, it's somebody that they're worried about talking. And so chances are they may be talking already.
Now, I understand there's a federal prosecutor snooping around this.
Federal prosecutors looking at this, and you can bet that the Democrats are full tilt behind this. There are all types of agencies. You see, you had Wildstein pleading the Fifth Amendment, but really when it comes down to it, there's all types of ways that he can be hit already for obstruction of an investigation. That's all it takes.
Well, can't they just impanel a grand jury and compel testimony?
Of course. And the fifth doesn't make any difference at that point. Somebody's going to talk. And look, this is not something that just passes. This is the type of thing to where you already have a man who is very equivocal about running for president. You have the media is just gaga about this guy because they just have such a lack of insight. The reason they love this guy is and they want to call him a liberal. They want to say, well, he's a different kind of Democrat. The reason for that is they're always looking for something like that to sell. But this is a guy that is not. His heart is not in it. His health is not in it. His wife is not happy about him even thinking about it. So this isn't necessarily the kind of thing that ends his career, but it certainly probably pushes him to say, you know, I don't know about all this presidential thing. I don't know if I want to do all this. But he certainly is not a liberal. This is a guy 3 times he vetoed Democrats' efforts to do away with the millionaire tax in New Jersey. It was estimated $120 billion that he took away from workers with their pensions. He opposed gay marriage. It goes on, a $2 billion tax break that he gave to his corporate pals. These are directly traced to people who gave him money, people like Prudential Insurance, Panasonic, Goya Foods. These are people he gave tax breaks to, gave subsidies to, raised the tax on working poor by doing away with the earned income tax credit, eliminated funding for women's health, where he cut almost $8 million in the Planned Parenthood program, the seventh highest unemployment in the United States. So this is not a guy. This does not the media. The corporate media that is so woefully lazy, Tom. They are so ridiculously lazy nowadays that they say this is guy we want to invent. They don't have anything to work with here.
Well, I think he's been doing a John McCain on these guys for a while. You know, he makes himself available. He pals around with them. He's colorful. He's always got a funny soundbite. It's John McCain played the media really, really well for about a decade there before he ran for president.
He did, and I agree with you. I think he was very good at it. This is the thing that anybody that's asking him questions needs to say, look, let me get this right. You might be president of the United States, and what we know, you know this from your history, I know it for a fact, is staff stays with a guy like that. He doesn't just, if he's got Wildstein day 1, he has Wildstein day 2, or people like Wildstein. So the staff that's going to be advising him, are they going to be they're going to be doing this kind of thing with yuck jokes with China and with Russia? Hey, let's have a little fun and embroil us in an international conflict. This is just not just bad judgment. We're going to find out this is directly obstruction of a police investigation that Chris Christie knew about, and Chris Christie can try all he wants to deny it. There was a great cross-examiner. His name was, the point, Louis Nizer was his name, but Louis Nizer had a theory, and he said, look, when you look at a case and you believe it probably happened, and you have this strong feeling that it probably happened in such a way, most of the time you're going to be right. And as I look at this case, I just say it's impossible for this man to have operated in a vacuum where all of these people, all the way from his staff, his deputy staff advisors, his press secretaries, his right-hand people, to where he didn't find out a lot more about what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was more than a month ago that Rachel Maddow was talking about this on MSNBC in a big way. It was exactly a month ago, December 9th, that the executive director of the Port Authority said there was no traffic study.
Right.
And yet this morning, Chris Christie was still trying to say,
yes.
Well, I don't know if it was a traffic study gone wrong or something that went wrong and turned into a traffic study. It's like, really? Mike Papantonio, ringofireradio.com.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Pap, thanks so much for being with us today. It's always great talking with you.
Thank you, Tom.
And thanks again for filling in for me.
My pleasure.